You also have Ustream going, or are you just on your Skype?
I just have this one phone.
Okay.
Here's your car. Somebody just kicked in a window to a business, apparently. Is that what they said? Which one? Someone just kicked in the glass to the Jackson Hewitt tax service. It's the, hold on. This phone keeps sliding off. See that white sign right here?
Right.
That's the Jackson Hewitt tax service. The window has just been knocked out.
Okay. Hey, is Jakari recording right now?
Jakari, are you recording with the camera as well? He said yes.
Okay.
Back over here. If you want to say hello to Jakari. Hey, Jakari.
All right. Getting my stuff all together. You can join us on Alex Jones Live. My feed keeps cutting in and out because of the massive bandwidth out here. But I'm doing the best I can. So I thank everybody for joining me on Alex Jones Live, as well as on the INFOWARS Nightly News. So this is the verdict being announced. Yeah, you can see the riot cops over there. You guys probably can't see. I'm sorry on the INFOWARS Nightly News. But yeah, we're ready to see what's going to happen. They have the cops out here, and they have the streets blocked off. Some people are leaving, but a good amount of people are staying.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked like people started running there in the beginning. Joe was describing how he was hearing broken bottles, people screaming. Obviously, people are mad about this. This is not the outcome they were looking for. But what would have, an indictment still could have been overturned by the prosecutor. He also still has the ability to prosecute if he feels like it, although I think he's going to use the anonymous secret tribunal grand jury as his cover not to go after Officer Darren Wilson.
Jakari is trying to get a little bit closer if you guys want to cut to him at all.
Yeah, his feed seems to be going sporadic in and out, which...
Well, in a minute, whenever you guys want me to, I'm going to try to break this tripod down.
Okay.
Go mobile with a Skype and walk around.
Yeah, that's fine. Why don't you go ahead and do that? And
hey, Jakari.
There we're seeing some aerial footage from a local Fox TV station. 8:30, about almost 8:33 p.m. right now in Ferguson. So a lot of people up at the barricade. There looks like a small contingent of police officers with riot shields. But it doesn't look like anything widespread is broken out, at least in this part of Ferguson. But we're going to be monitoring this as we go along. Obviously, we have both our guys on the ground. They're going to be Ustreaming later after we break here from the live portion of the show. You can watch us at infowars.com/show for the free stream. You can join us on prisonplanet.tv and share your username and password with up to 5 people. And also,
on the roof.
We're on the Alex Jones channel. And Joe right now is pointing out a sniper. How many snipers do you see on the roof?
I don't know, but everybody, I can't see him yet from too close to the building. But there's a lot of people getting very angry and pointing up at the roof.
Yeah. And that's the roof of the fire station right there in Ferguson. What street are you on right now? What street is this?
South Florissant.
South Florissant. So just and as in terms of the quick trip where all the protests originally kicked off, how far is that from where you're standing?
Maybe 2.5, 3 miles, if that.
Okay.
Quick 5-minute trip.
Yeah. Now, are you guys able to get out in your vehicle, or are you blocked in inside the blocked off area?
We picked a spot further down.
Okay.
And if you guys can cut our feed real quick so no one knows where we're at.
Yeah. Are you guys going back to your car?
Yeah, I'm going to take this tripod and put it up so I can be a little bit more mobile.
Okay.
And not have as much stuff so I can stay live with you guys on Skype.
Sure. Also, if you could run your, someone could run the other phone on Ustream just so we can.
We don't have a way to hook all that together.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No, I'm going to have to run Skype for now, and then when we're done, I'll go to Ustream.
Okay, gotcha. All right, well, we'll check back in with those guys in just a second. We've got more going on here. Man, obviously, this is not the outcome people were looking for, especially the protesters there. But as we pointed out weeks ago, it didn't look like there was enough evidence to indict Darren Wilson. If you guys want to bring up the Alex Jones channel real quick, we can go down to Paul Watson's playlist, and he's got the truth about the Michael Brown killing. I think it's called The Truth of the Michael Brown Killing, but I'm not sure. If y'all could bring that up, we could look at it real quick. It's on the Alex Jones channel. And he really lays out the evidence. Just scroll down to the Paul Joseph Watson playlist. No, just scroll. Keep going. Got a lot of videos on this hooked up in this channel. There's the truth about the Michael Brown shooting. That one right there. So, and there in 8 minutes, he lays out why people are not going to get the outcome that they just saw. And in fact, if you guys can cue that up, can y'all cue that up with audio, or is that something, or did y'all download that?
We've dedicated the audio to the live feeds.
Okay.
So we can do it. You just got to give us a second.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in the meantime, going back to this discontent between people, the different races, and we saw that in the report earlier, where the gentleman was saying the people in the north and east parts of town don't go into the south and west parts of town. The black people don't go down there, and the white people don't come up into their areas. This is a segregated area, but as Joe's pointed out, he's been there almost a month, and he's never felt in danger for his life. In fact, he's become friends with a lot of the residents in the area. So and I think this is a lot of this is tribalism. People distrust one another from a different tribe, so you get that. And it's only when you realize, hey, we drink water, we eat food, we like music, that those barriers start to break down. And I want to go to
all right, we got that report.
You got that ready?
You want to go to that?
Yeah, let's go to, this is Paul Watson's report, and this is the truth about the Michael Brown shooting, and he's going to lay out pretty convincing evidence as to why we saw the no indictment verdict handed down by the grand jury. So if we're ready for that, let's go to it.
Who are the real racists to emerge out of Ferguson, Missouri, the tragic shooting death of Michael Brown and the subsequent riots? And why is this whole issue being hijacked and steered by the Obama administration and black political leaders? First of all, an apology. I'm not going to check my white privilege. Despite the myriad of glittering opportunities that were afforded to me as a result of my skin colour growing up on a council estate in Northern England, I don't believe that free speech on certain issues should be denied, limited or qualified based on race. Unlike the people who scream white privilege, I'm not a racist. Like Martin Luther King, I believe a person should be judged on the content of their character, not their background or skin colour. What I would point out is the number of articles I have written decrying genuine examples of police brutality being targeted against black people. Now let's get to it. Thousands of Americans, predominantly blacks, but many white liberals who have taken the same stance, have concluded that Officer Darren Wilson was guilty of first-degree murder when he shot Michael Brown. And how have they come to this conclusion? Well, it can't be based on the actual evidence behind what happened, which clearly indicates that Wilson acted in self-defense and did not deliberately murder Brown. Brown was a criminal who robbed a convenience store just before the shooting. The majority of witnesses to the shooting, all of whom were black, say that Brown attacked Wilson and attempted to grab his gun in the patrol car. The ballistics evidence from the autopsy of Michael Brown and the wound to his hand are fully consistent with Wilson's explanation that Brown was reaching for his gun. The autopsy results also show that Brown did not have his hands raised in surrender when he was shot by Officer Wilson. Forensic pathologist Judy Melinek asserts that the autopsy results did not support those who claim Brown was attempting to flee or surrender when Wilson shot him in the street. Every piece of evidence demolishes the claim that Brown was an innocent victim with his hands up in the air when he was shot by Wilson. He was not shot because he was black. He was shot because he was assaulting and maybe even attempting to murder Wilson. Given that the evidence clearly shows that Wilson was not guilty of first-degree murder, second-degree murder, or even manslaughter, why have Ferguson protesters and agitators come to this conclusion? And why did they come to this conclusion before any of the evidence was even presented? Well, we know why. Because Michael Brown was black and Officer Wilson was white. And no amount of hard evidence is going to dissuade them from that narrative. They've already determined Wilson's guilt based on the colour of his skin. They've made a racist rush to judgment and then exploited that fallacy in some cases to burn down and loot their own communities.
Why won't President Obama come out and say, you know what, Darren Wilson is not guilty, and it's a good thing that he wasn't indicted. It's unfortunate that this young black child was gunned down, but you know whose fault it was? What about his parents? His parents are complaining. They're the ones that raised him. If they had raised him right, he would have had some respect for authority. He wouldn't have robbed this convenience store. He would have listened to the police. He wouldn't have charged the police. Who charges a policeman? When they have a gun pointed at you and they're telling you to freeze, who charges? Who attacks a policeman through his car and starts punching him in the face and tries to take his gun? Not a kid who's raised very well. And in fact, why don't we blame the welfare state? And the poverty in which these kids grow up in, and the war on drugs, and all the things that the government does to create Michael Browns, and all the Michael Browns who are born out of wedlock to women without husbands because of the welfare state. This is not about racism. And Darren Wilson didn't do anything wrong. He was doing his job. But now what are we telling policemen? Hey, you can't protect yourself. You can't shoot a criminal who's trying to kill you, because if they happen to be black, well, then you might end up in jail, or you're going to have to live in hiding for like your whole life, because you're automatically guilty if you're white and you shoot somebody who's black, no matter what the circumstances are. You're a racist and you're a murderer.
The grand jury is likely to acquit Officer Darren Wilson based on actual evidence, not the colour of his skin. And even if we don't see more unrest in the aftermath of the verdict, the damage to a large extent has already been done. Here's the truth about Ferguson. This is being hijacked by the Obama administration, by the establishment itself, to delegitimize opposition to the genuine problem of police brutality. Why weren't blacks up in arms when Eric Garner, a black man, was choked to death by a white police officer in New York City earlier this summer for the crime of selling cigarettes? Why weren't liberals up in arms when the Albuquerque Police Department gunned down a homeless man, James Boyd, in cold blood? Were there sporadic protests? Well, sure. Was it anything like the sustained unrest that we saw in Ferguson? No way. Despite the fact that, unlike the Michael Brown case, these were flagrant examples of outrageous police brutality. And why is that? Why are the cut and dried cases buried in local media and forgotten about, while the Trayvon Martins and Michael Browns are seized upon as national causes by the mainstream media and by black political leaders? Why is Barack Obama meeting with Ferguson organisers and encouraging them to stay the course? Why is Al Sharpton, the FBI snitch, an alleged cocaine dealer, and Uncle Tom who doesn't give a damn about black people, acting as a conduit for the White House while stirring up resentment in Ferguson? Why is the Obama administration itself, just as it did during the Trayvon Martin controversy, fostering outrage and unrest over a case which, if you study the evidence carefully, clearly does not prove police brutality? Because the government doesn't care about police brutality. The government does not care about blacks. It does care about divide and conquer. By making the whole issue about police violence only being targeted against blacks, and in the case of Michael Brown, justifiably so, half of America is convinced to shut up about police brutality, turn a blind eye, and even support a more militarized and aggressive police force. Police brutality is a real issue. People from all colours and creeds are being assaulted by cops, thrown in prison for videotaping, and murdered on a regular basis. Cops have killed 5,000 Americans since 9/11. Americans are 8 times more likely to be killed by a police officer than a terrorist. Police departments across the country are being militarized with the aid of Homeland Security grants. The government supports the police state, no matter what president or political party is in office. So when the likes of Barack Obama and Al Sharpton jump on the bandwagon of this.